Welcome to section 12.1, Organizing Life on Earth. Picture yourself walking through a tropical rainforest, surrounded by towering trees, brilliant birds, and strange insects. How could scientists possibly keep track of all these species without confusion? Taxonomy gives us a shared system, a universal language that connects researchers across the globe and across generations. In this section, we'll see how classification reveals hidden connections among organisms and why these tools matter for understanding life's history. In this section, we'll discuss why a comprehensive classification system is essential. We'll also explore the hierarchy of taxonomic levels, from the broad sweep of domains down to the unique identity of a species. Finally, we'll discover how taxonomy and systematics connect to phylogeny, which traces the evolutionary family tree of life. By the end, you'll see how these ideas transform a chaotic diversity of organisms into an organized, meaningful framework. So, why bother classifying life? Without taxonomy, two scientists might call the same animal by different names. Or worse, the same name could describe entirely different creatures. Taxonomy provides order. It organizes species into a framework, allows scientists on opposite sides of the planet to understand each other instantly, and importantly, reflects evolutionary relationships. This system also underpins fields like conservation biology and medicine, helping us identify endangered species or track disease-causing organisms. The hierarchical model of taxonomy works like nested boxes, or the folder structure on your computer. At the broadest level is domain, and as you move down through kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, and genus, you reach the most specific level, species. Each step narrows shared traits and clarifies relationships. For example, whales and hippos seem different at first glance, but taxonomy and genetic evidence place them surprisingly close on the evolutionary tree. Taxonomy isn't static. Early naturalists grouped organisms by superficial similarities, like color or shape, without understanding their evolutionary histories. Today, advances in DNA sequencing and fossil analysis have revolutionized classification. As we uncover new evidence, classifications shift. For example, vultures in the Americas were once grouped with storks based on appearance, but genetic data revealed they belong with hawks and eagles. Taxonomy evolves as our knowledge grows. Let's review the main taxonomic levels. Domains, bacteria, archaea, and eukarya, represent the broadest categories of life. Inside each domain are kingdoms, like Animalia and Plantae. Narrowing further, we pass through phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Each step down represents a closer evolutionary relationship. By the time you reach species, you're talking about a group so specific that its members can usually interbreed successfully. Here's a concrete example: the domestic dog. Its classification is domain Eukarya, kingdom Animalia, phylum Chordata, class Mammalia, order Carnivora, family Canidae, genus Canis, species Canis lupus, and subspecies Canis lupus familiaris. This tells us dogs and wolves share a very close evolutionary history. They're the same species, just different subspecies. This also highlights how taxonomy reveals relationships that common names might obscure. Scientific names use binomial nomenclature, a two-name system, genus and species. Wolves are Canis lupus, and domestic dogs are Canis lupus familiaris. This system avoids confusion. Common names vary wildly between cultures and languages. For example, the same fish may be called a dolphin in one place and a mahi-mahi elsewhere. The scientific name, however, is recognized everywhere and reflects evolutionary relationships rather than local tradition. Systematics is the scientific study of evolutionary relationships among organisms, while phylogeny is the evolutionary history itself, the branching map of life. Together, they ensure our classification system reflects ancestry, not just appearance. For instance, birds are now recognized as living dinosaurs based on phylogenetic evidence. Understanding these relationships lets us see how traits evolved and why certain organisms share surprising similarities. Phylogenetic trees are visual representations of evolutionary pathways. Each branch point represents a common ancestor where one lineage split into two. Scientists construct these trees using traits, genetic data, and fossils. Think of them as hypotheses. As we gather more evidence, we may redraw branches or discover unexpected connections, like how whales are closely related to hoofed mammals. These trees are dynamic stories of life's history. Phylogenetic trees aren't just academic exercises, they're practical tools. Farmers use them to breed crops resistant to pests by finding related species with useful traits. Doctors use them to trace the origins of viruses like influenza or COVID-19, improving vaccines. Conservationists use them to prioritize species that represent unique evolutionary lineages. Trees help us make informed decisions about agriculture, medicine, and biodiversity protection. Taxonomy organizes Earth's biodiversity into a logical, hierarchical system. Systematics and phylogeny reveal the evolutionary connections beneath the surface, and phylogenetic trees are our roadmaps to life's history, flexible tools that evolve with new discoveries. By understanding these concepts, we not only categorize life, we uncover the deep relationships that bind all living things together.